then we will move on to the next segment where we will talk about more of the issues that I think you say you want to hear about.
Well,
I say that a lot of our viewers want to hear about this too.
And Mr. McFadden, you have also talked about closing loopholes. You want to close every loophole there is. Isn't this a loophole that an organization like the NFL has tax-exempt status?
Well, there's 17,000 loopholes that have been put into the tax code since it was revised in 1986.
Well, can't wait to hear which ones you want to close.
Well, I think that would be an exercise in futility to sit there, Pat, and say which of the 17,000 are we going to get rid of. I think the right way to do it is with a blank sheet of paper and do it in a nonpartisan way, sitting across the aisle from people and saying this is going to be revenue neutral because we have $17.5 trillion of debt, but we need to dramatically change the tax code, and we need to be guided by two principles: simplicity and transparency.
Go right ahead, Senator.
This is where we have a fundamental difference. I voted to get rid of tax loopholes for companies that outsource jobs overseas. That we use that to pay for 2,800 teachers in Minnesota. This is at the height of the Great Recession. We were losing teachers right and left. I made that vote. He criticized that vote. I have legislation to prevent inversions that I have co-sponsored. His company has taken advantage of inversions.
And made millions of dollars, he says, Mr. McFadden.
Well, Al Franken owns stock in the parent company that he's talking about. Al, I'm so disappointed. You have spent millions of dollars attacking me on the air with patently false ads. And that's one of the issues that we have in this state right now. You ran the most negative, attack-oriented campaign in 2008 against Norm Coleman. And now you're doing it again, and I believe.
Let's talk about this latest ad, Mr. McFadden, because you're saying it's absolutely false that your company negotiated a deal that resulted in a mine closing in Missoula, Montana, that resulted in 400 plus layoffs. Did your company? It was on your company's website that they did that deal.
So the company that I run, which is called Lazard Middle Market, did not do that deal, was not involved in that transaction.
Why was it on the website? I've got the website right here. It said Lazard Middle Market, and it had that deal right underneath it.
What I would encourage you to do, Esme, is call Lazard on Monday, and you ask them if we were involved.
Well, you have an opportunity right here.
Okay, so the company that I run, we sell businesses. And I like to say, if you're going to sell your house, hire a realtor. If you're going to sell your business, hire me.
You also talk about your restructuring prowess on your website.
But this was a transaction that the business that I run did not touch. And what Al Franken has said is in that ad was that I was the CEO. That was Bruce Wasserstein. You know Bruce before he passed. He was a big donor to your campaign. He was at the George Soros.
He says you're not telling the truth, Senator Franken. On this ad, the 400 people lost their jobs, and somebody did that.
And do those people know that you own stock in that company, that you asked these unemployed mill workers?
I have a mutual fund that bought that Lazard Limited stock. You know, as someone in financial that I don't control. Please let me answer this.
Yes.
Okay, this is an ad about a plant in Montana that closed, and it closed because of a deal that Mr. McFadden's company was advising on restructuring.
Not the firm that I run. It's the firm. It's the parent company.
Yeah, well, let's let Senator Franken. Go ahead, Senator.
Mr. McFadden's firm, Lazard Middle Market, during this entire campaign, advertised that it did the restructuring for Smurfit Stone. That's the company that laid off these 400 people, some of who had worked there for 30, 20 years. But the day they had it on their website until the day we ran the ad. That seems pretty incriminating. Now, this is let me answer this.
You're answering it, Senator.
Let me
hold on.
This would be like me blaming you for something that General Electric did when you were at Saturday Night Live because they
I didn't
owned
advertise on my website
NBC.
that I
and
had
it's not
done
just,
it.
It's not just this ad. This is
Aren't
so.
you
And we can
embarrassed?
come-
You met my daughter, Pat.
Aren't we embarrassed about
Pat,
what?
About taking off your website the day after my
What-
ad that says that advertised we did the restructuring.
We
Lazard
want to
Middle
talk
Market.
about this
Yes.
more. We'll come back on
Hang
the
on.
other side of the